Hey y'all, Bushel Billy here, and we're going to do a little corn scouting today using the Climate Fieldview scouting maps. So I'll show you what we're looking at. Here I've got my iPad. We got our map. This little blue dot is where we're sitting here along the edge of the field. Now, this is a forced scale of plant health in the quintiles. So the dark red is supposed to be the worst 20% in the field. The dark green is the best 20% in the field, and the yellows and the lighter greens fill in the middle. So what we're going to do is walk out to this rough patch of the field here and pull a plant sample, and then I'll walk back to the green spot here and pull a plant sample. So here we're crashing out through the field. You can see the little blue dot is following us on the climate map there on the left hand side of the screen, and recording myself running down the rows on the rest of the screen. It's moving pretty fast. You can't see a lot of details, but as we move across the map into the lighter colored areas and towards the red area, you'll start to see more sunlight hit the ground between the rows. We'll see more of the lower canopy getting fired up and dropping down, and more drought stress showing. And now we're moving towards the red spot. You can certainly see the lower canopy is pretty much smoked, except for the ear leaf, maybe the one below it. So we're going to stop here. Now we reach the red zone and pull our plant sample from the rough part of the field. Alright, we've collected our sample from the red zone. I dropped a pin there, you can see on the map where I took the plant sample. And now we're crashing towards the middle part of the field, about 1,000 feet back in there, to take a sample from the darker green area. As you can see, as we move back into the darker colors on the map, that the dark green starts to show up. The lower canopy is more and more intact. We're seeing less and less sunlight in the rows in between. So we're going to continue on back and find a good sample out of the best part of the field. So when we're done here, we're going to have a plant sample and a near sample from one of the best parts of the field to one of the worst parts of the field, and kind of give us the bookends and a more accurate assessment of what's out here. So here we're going to take a right hand turn, crash across the rows, and again, it's hard to see details, but certainly see the dark green colors, less sunlight down between the rows, and the canopy intact all the way in the ground. And it'll be interesting to take a look at both the root masses and the ear development from these two samples from either side or either section of the field. So here we got, in a pretty good area of the field, we got a little bit of gray leaf spot. This field was unsprayed, but the lower canopy is intact. We got good color all the way to the ground. The ground's shaded. So we'll take up a plant sample here and take it back to the truck. Okay, we got both our plant samples back to the truck. You can see the pins on the map where we took the samples. We got the field health image on the left, and we're pulling up the soil maps on the right, and that's going to end up telling the story of the difference in this field is the soil types where we took these plant samples and the availability of water and their ability to deal with drought stress. And as we can see, the better sample on the field came out of the silt loams. The more stressed sample of the field came out of the clays, and that's really affecting the ear development, which we'll see here in a second. So here are the two plants we dug up with out of the red zone on the left, out of the green zone on the right. And I really thought we would see differences in the root balls on these two. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of difference, but we do have a concentration of roots, within 2 inches, right at the tillage depth. So we've got some tillage compaction from earlier in the season. All the roots are concentrated in the first top 2 inches of soil. We did get down through the compaction, not very many. But so what this comes down to, when we look at the soil maps, this one here that's fired up lost the lower canopy, come out of the clay soil types. This year we got the lower canopy intact and still green, came out of the silt loam, and you can see the differences in the ears that these two put on. And even though they're both suffering from a little tillage compaction and limited plumbing underneath them, with the drought that we've got right now, it came down to water holding capacity of the soil types. And the silt loam is sharing a little more water with the plant than the clay is, and what a difference it's making in ear development. Get those out of the shadows, one versus the other.